Welcome to Family Bid-Ness, where we give family insight into small business growth and small business strategy. I'm your host, Tim Haggerty, here with my co-host, Ben. Say hi, Ben.
Hello. We're live from WFLA Orlando and brought to you nationwide through iHeartRadio.
And over the next hour, we're going to be going over some old business perspectives that's brought to you by yours truly, as well as some new business perspectives brought to you by
The one and only. After the family business concludes, we're going to go ahead and sit down looking through our family insights. Then we'll see if we can bridge that family divide.
that family divide. Now, of course, that is a worthy goal, right? Worthy goal of which we shall work
Last
to achieve.
time, we had a pretty strong foundation in the
thought
last
so.
talk.
Yeah.
It was a good conversation.
It was great. So I am actually going to go ahead and test that, you see, because, man, I'm always about, like, pushing forward, okay? So
Innovation.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm going to throw this out there, and I want to see what you think. So
Is it controversial?
it kind of, or at least I kind of think that it could be.
I love
Okay.
it. Let's do it.
All right, depending on the perspectives. Organization plus communication, right, within your small business. It seems innocuous enough, doesn't it? It seems like a broad topic, but what I want to bring up is the actual structure first, okay? Not only your business structure, I'm not really talking about all that kind of stuff, but how are you actually communicating? And even backing it up, are you communicating as a small business?
Well, I got to say, you got my hopes up.
And then I dashed them.
Well, the topic's just, I mean, we might have controversy. It's not really a controversial topic, but I'm ready to talk about it. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm sure you have opinions.
Yes, and
I
actually,
know how you communicate, so.
Yes, and this is what I'm going to do. Like, I think, we have an opportunity to turn it into one of these things because I think it's one of those things that we think that we do really well, right? And then we put those kinds of things on the back burner, especially as a small business. And so this is one of those topics we think, I know that I fell in this trap, I thought I was a great communicator.
I think that any time before 9 in the morning, I'm a terrible communicator. Anytime after 6, I'm a
right.
terrible communicator, and that's also 6 in the morning.
All right. Well, now, so with that, okay, so as human nature, and I know that this is how I was operating when I'm going through building this small business, that I'm not putting as much time and attention to those things that I automatically have on the back burner. So with that, communication by itself, it has disrupted our small business to a point to where we had a team of 3 at one point, and none of us were on the same page at the same time during this one history within our company's growth.
I mean, we've also touched on that before, but yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter how large your business is. You need set structures and everyone to be on the same page. And if you're not building these things off of industry standards or figuring out best practices.
Well, now let me ask you that. Industry standards. Okay, so you're a small business coming in. How do you know what the industry standard stuff is?
Well,
How do you even know?
It depends on your business, but I would look into, I specifically, I would look into what you're offering and any regulations around that. There are certain
For
industries,
communications?
especially if you're working with the government, the way that you organize your files, the different things you're allowed to talk about the things you're working on. It's not necessarily about how you're talking about things and the way you communicate inside your organization, but I think that is a good place to start when you're trying to figure out what's the best way for us to organize ourselves.
I will tell you, we had that one experience, and I was right in the middle of it, and it was one of the worst times. There were 3 of us, and we were not on the same page as to what each other was doing. Now, it led me to a philosophy, right?
Okay.
Now, and like this is how it goes. Okay, so I'm of the mind, I want to over-communicate rather than under-communicate.
Ooh.
Okay. And now this is one of the things where it does cause a little bit, especially between you and I, because I know it drives you nuts when I sit there and go over something 3, 4, or 5 times.
Well, let me bring up a couple words here. I'm mansplaining.
No. Okay. Yes. Yeah. All right.
Overcomplicating simple issues.
Interesting.
That's not one word. Okay, but that innately explains what I'm talking about.
You see, so that's what you're getting on the other side of that. So when I'm trying to go over something and clarify it, I will tell you a lot of those times I'm doing it for myself.
I know, but we have definitely hit times before where I was ready to move on with something. I had a clear picture in my mind, and then you bringing it back up muddled that picture for me. So I'm trying to get back to what I had already understood, and then you're asking more questions.
That's true.
It creates this really messy situation.
Now that right there, because we're talking about communication, right? You and I, we're in a small business, right? We have communication, and we have a communication issue.
Yep.
And then even that right
we did.
there, that is a communications issue. You see, so
Exactly.
so it does go down to what could be how two people in the same room, right, perceiving different things because one idea is not being like communicated in the way that maybe the person thinks that they are. And for those of us just joining us, we are Family Bid-Ness, where we give family insight into small business growth and small business strategy. And communication, that's a big part of a small business's strategy, even though it is one of those things now that we put on the back burner and think that we're so good at. But look what it leads to.
Exactly. And this whole time we've been talking about growing your business, maybe starting a business, maybe you have
Yes.
it going and you want it to grow, get to that next step.
Yeah.
You have to have your ducks in a row.
Uh-huh.
So it might just be interpersonal communication,
All right.
just one-on-one conversations. It might be how you structure meetings and how your weeks are structured. So all of that is really what we're talking about right now. Reporting, communication, all of that just comes down to day-to-day conversations.
So perfect, actually. Because you actually bring me to my next point, the meetings, right? Okay. When we were starting this, we put together structured meetings.
Yep,
Monday morning, it's a meeting, and then Friday afternoon.
exactly.
Okay. Now, I thought what a brilliant leader I was because I'm sitting here creating structure, that I think that everyone is thirsting for it. Right? All right. But in reality, this is another part of the communication. We only found this out because it was brought up and then told, saying, I think the idea is that we're wasting that time. Why are we sitting there doing this? Do we have a structured problem that we have to get together and solve at that particular time? Because we found out that if we're going to have meetings, isn't it better to have a meeting, pointed at a particular issue that two people at least have to get together to help solve? That's a proper time to have a meeting. Go after it. Most of it can be done through email, but if it has to be done through Zoom or in person or something like that too, fine. But not the structured stuff. That's a different part of communication.
And that's really what we were getting to in that conversation because it was never the meetings that were the problem. It was the mandatory attendance.
The mandatory now
Because there
coming
were
from the new perspective, right? Yeah.
there were plenty of times I would sit in those meetings. I understand our tech and our code base, but I'm not in it. I have no reason to be looking at lines of code.
And it was a waste of time
Sometimes
for you.
we do that for half an hour. Yeah.
See, now from my point of view, I was thinking, hey, we're a small company. How bad could it be that someone else could get exposure to this, right?
Exactly.
But no. You see,
people want swim lanes.
well, so then, yeah, true. And then also, I believe that we should be spending our time, everything that we should do during a structured day should be in pursuit of a goal, okay? There should be nothing that we're doing that is not aligned or straight at a goal, milestone, something that's getting us in the company where we want to be. I think that's how our day needs to be structured.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, I
Okay.
agree. And I think one step further is that our mindset needs to be structured to where people are asking more questions.
Totally.
They don't need the meeting to come up to where they start getting fed that information.
Doesn't it move so much faster that way too?
Exactly.
Because you don't have a structured time to go try to solve that particular problem.
Exactly.
Might be a week away when something like that can be done Tuesday.
And then your people are being proactive, and it just helps
better.
all around the board with improving everything.
Yeah.
From enjoying their day-to-day lives at the office and the results that they bring back for you after that.
Oh yeah. Well,
So-
happier time, right?
Happier times.
And so I really didn't understand when we started how much of a difference even that one little thing can actually make or does actually make, when it comes down to it. So, hey, we live, we grow, we learn, we do all of that other kind of stuff. So, what are you going to do?
Hey, beautifully said.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I was kind of working on that.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do right now is take a little water break
Oh,
because
okay.
I am parched.
No,
But,
me too.
This has been just a fantastic conversation, and I'm excited because I have a couple of things that you did not touch on.
Good.
On the new perspective for new business.
well.
I'm very excited to talk about.
I can't wait. Okay, we'll be right back. So managing all of your federal contracting data is hard. Business development or drumming up new business is a big barrier to entry for B2B companies coming into the federal contracting market. Now, whether you're just starting out, or you have a large company that needs organization, the Teamy Pro pipeline will automate and streamline your business development and procurement strategies. Now, instantly accelerate your growth plan and take advantage of Teamy Pro actionable analytics. Activate your account today and start organizing at teamingpro.com.
Welcome back to Family Bid-Ness, where we give family insights into small business growth and small business strategy. Today we're talking about communication, effective communication,
Yes.
regulated organization, and all the other boring words that'll make you fall right asleep.
I'm tired. I'm already tired.
Exactly. So
All right, fine.
right now I want to get through the boring stuff.
Okay.
And when you're looking at communication and organizing your structures in your business.
Man, doesn't that sound so grown up too?
I
I
know.
love it.
I'm too young to be talking
I
about
know
these
this
things.
is so. I'm just imagining it from my side of the table. It's amazing.
Anyway,
I love it.
let's pull the reins back in here.
All right.
I
hit me.
touched on this in your segment when we were talking about old business.
Okay.
Now I know back in the old days, you went in a dark alley and you made your deals. But
Yep.
nowadays we have a lot of regulation,
Okay.
a lot of hoops we have to jump through.
I'm not even going to dive into that, but thank you very much. Go right ahead. Love it.
When you're organizing your company,
Mm-hmm.
your files, anything for personal use, for private use, anything that the company needs to retain for the future,
Mm-hmm.
along with things that you're going to be putting out there publicly. Maybe that's speeches, scripts, images,
Websites, whatever.
whatever it else
Yeah,
it
yeah.
could be. Certain-
PDFs.
Depending on the industry you're in, you might have regulations on different ways that you have to organize. Am I wrong?
Nah. Well, if you're on a government contract, you may have to, let's say, you have to use something that's DCAA compliant in terms of your time capture and things of that nature.
That's what I was looking for.
Sure, yeah. If you're on contract that requires that, then you have to use certain tools for certain things. That's government contracting.
So-
That would be rarer in the private industry. I don't see a private company saying that, but
And
government
that's-
work, sure.
That's all the boring stuff I wanted to talk
Yeah.
about, but it brings me to my point.
Okay.
It's that everybody struggles with this kind of stuff, communicating effectively within their company.
Yeah.
We struggled with it when we started. We had times we thought we had figured it out. We thought we were good at it. And boy, were we wrong. So-
And isn't that interesting too? Because I've spent some time going back and thinking about that. And the times where we think we got it right is when we were wrong.
Exactly.
And us feeling good about it, between then and then the time when we recognized we still had the issue was just a time that we could have spent still drilling in, looking in for the real solutions and making sure, that what we're trying is actually effective, man.
I mean, it all comes down to a real master of something will never say that they're a master. They're never going to say that they know everything about it.
And we really
there's
shouldn't.
always more to
No,
learn.
and why would we do it anyway? Because ultimately, and this is what we see, this is what I'm seeing, right? Who cares about any of that other stuff as long as we see the results that we're going after?
And that's why I
That's
wanted to
it.
bring up the regulations. Because some companies are in a rut. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to structure themselves. And every company is different. You might have 5 people or 50, and they could be in one office or all around the world remote.
True. Okay. So from an old business perspective, I actually wouldn't worry about the regulations stuff too much.
I'm not
No,
saying to worry
but-
about it. I'm saying if you're looking for a guidebook, one is out there, and there are multiple other ones as well.
Actually, this is not one of those things that I would say. Now, today, there's a lot of new tech, right? There's a lot of new tech. We use tech to help organize our own internal stuff,
Yes,
right?
we do.
Sometimes we use our own tech, but other times, we use
Well,
other
we
tech
built
too.
it so well.
Sure, yeah. So, but all right.
I mean,
So
that was actually a fun revelation when we realized that the best idea was to just use our own tool for monitoring.
there are a lot of good tools that get born from that exact kind of thing. And in fact, there's some great stories out there for that.
Yeah,
But
you realize a need. Anyway,
well, but so having those tools, right? There's so much more access to those things now than there were even 10 years ago. So when it comes down to organizing files, because like you were saying, files. All right, imagine you're just standard small business. Let's say you're a plumbing company, and you have X number of files, X number of customers. You have a history on those customers. The old school way, everyone kept everything on paper. You can look up invoice, you can find stuff. It means filing cabinets and stuff like that, right? So now it's all online, and you can keep it in the cloud, and you have several different kinds of ways that you can access and work on that data.
Tell that to my optometrist.
Yeah. Well, see, now you still, like, we go into the glass guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like you see all those paper files. I mean, so it's not, there's nothing that's been obsoleted, but we have different options now.
You and your words.
But hey, I think it's a good one, actually. But that is one of those things. It's so easy to get lost. And when we're talking about communication, most everyone, like in our industry here, small businesses here, it's almost always email, right? But now, and details can get lost in that kind of medium very easily. So that's another important part of the communication is, hey, if you need to answer a question really quickly, can you do that as a small business?
And just going back to something you said before about just like repeating ourselves and recapping things, this is Family Bid-Ness, the show where we give family insights into small business growth and small business strategy. We're talking about conversations, effective communication, file organization.
I know, the riveting file organization.
That's my favorite
All right,
word. Giving me chills.
So I used to work for the government, right? And that was so long ago that, of course, we had computers. So shut up. But we didn't really have a big file organization kind of issue, right? But when I went private, and then especially when we started working with other companies, and then we saw how companies put their, say you can have any number of these file systems. You can go from Google on down, right? Okay, if you're going to say any word, then. But how it gets organized, you basically give a company about a year, 6 months to a year, and with no rules in place, anyone can go in, create a folder, and before you know it, it's a jungle in there.
And that leads right to the point I wanted to make, because you said it right there. With the level you were on for the job you were working, there was no organization problem.
Yeah, but we were a good-sized company. We had about 300 plus people.
Do you think your boss or your boss's boss would have said the same thing?
Oh, yes.
Really?
To the point to where we had to switch to a different file system and start new.
Okay, so they focused on it. They really cared.
But guess what happened?
It still got overblown.
You gave it a year, and it was, a jungle in there.
Yeah.
So what we realized after that turn was okay, it's because we don't have the processes, and this is where the boring stuff comes in, right? Because we haven't set the rules. Okay, here's a rule: only this level person who has access to this can create folders.
Yeah.
Number one.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. See, that right there stems the flow of all of these various named folders, and the names of the folders. They're fantastic too, and I'm guilty of this too, because you go back and you're like, hey, you know what? That made sense at that time, but not now.
That leads to the other point that I wanted to make. My most important point of the whole entire show. Really, the most important point I've ever made. We talk about it a lot on this show.
It's a big point.
It comes from the top down.
Okay. Yeah.
So, for organization, for how people are expected to carry themselves day to day when they're talking, when they're sending emails, whatever it might be, because they are representing your company. When they're doing anything, they are...
Yeah, hopefully happily, hopefully, yeah.
Exactly. So they're in that position and you want them to represent you well. That's really why this is so important. And everyone needs to be on the same page for that to happen. And you only get that from the top down. So that's why it's not just important to have these in place and just one of your departments does it correctly, the other department randomly got an idea that might improve everything and they just ran with it and it didn't work out.
Sure. Hey, but at least maybe now in this case, you want to find those kind of things out quickly, right? So you can make alterations quick and fast and pivot if you have to.
And by you mean the people at the top. You want to pay attention to it. You want to focus on it because that's where you can really make the changes effectively.
Yes. I think when we are, especially in this position, I'll speak of my position, when you're CEO of your business, then I see myself as the steward. Yeah. It's my job. I mean, and I have various things that I am responsible for and proudly thereof, actually. I will say that as well, too.
Oh, and what a good steward you are. Not anything.
Well, I try, and that is a daily thing, and I find myself failing all the time, but I never find myself stopping. That's the difference.
I'll just say that there are plenty of stewards that I know from movies that have done a much worse job than you.
Oh, thank you so much. That is so nice.
But hey, we will see, because after this, we're going to be coming right back with Family Insight. Stay tuned. Managing all of your federal contracting data is hard. Pipeline management is a large barrier to entry for B2B businesses and federal contracting companies. Whether you're just starting out or have a large company that needs organization, the Teaming Pro Pipeline Management will automate and streamline your business development and your procurement strategies. Instantly accelerate your growth plan and take advantage of Teaming Pro's actionable analytics. Activate your account and start organizing today at teamingpro.com.
Welcome to Family Bid-Ness, where we give family insight into small business growth and small business strategy. I'm your host, Tim Haggerty, here with my co-host, Ben. All right, so now, what do you think about this? All right, so we've gone over this now. Now, where would you like to bring this conversation as of this moment here?
I would like to bring it to the real people in the office because we've talked a lot about just generally organizing your company. And I think something we do well on this show is bringing in actual real-life examples.
Yeah, okay,
so,
good.
Let's talk about day-to-day inside of a company that organizes well and a company that does not organize well. What does that day-to-day actually look like for their people?
Now,
should we specify a department specifically or just a company in general?
I will tell you that why don't we just look at our own company?
All right, let's go ahead.
Here, we are a tech company, right? We have a very minimal footprint when it comes down to staff because we use a lot of automation. Okay, so now with that, though, there is communication between tech and there's communication between support. And we have customers who are using our platform, who are communicating with support, who then has to communicate with management.
And we also have business developers
we
that
have
are
sales.
becoming and account managers.
Exactly right. Now,
and we have our PR. We have our public outreach.
So, right. Now, with all of that together, okay, there are actions being taken, working towards goals through every single one of those departments, and some of them have to cross over and can't go any further until something gets decided upon. Let's just say, and that might entail either another department or in most cases management.
Sometimes they're waiting for a project to be completed.
That's right.
But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. They are dependent on each other.
That's right. So now, and a really good example of bad communication of how we displayed that was here I'm management. I'm inherently a bottleneck for all of these various departments who are trying to do things.
Well, we were small.
We were small. No. It's totally fine. I think that's an acceptable thing.
But yeah,
as long as the communication is flowing and that bottleneck is not going and interrupting flow. Well, I have managed that to the point where like either I missed an email or something was told to me that I did not remember that I should have written down. Right. So it's but learning and getting better at all that other kind of stuff. But so I'm in a position to be able to go and make the choices when needed in the best case scenario on the fly so things can flow as efficiently as they possibly could.
Well, also, you don't see the justification for an assistant, which would help with a lot of these situations.
I totally agree, but why can't I manage that as effectively as it should have been managed? That's a shortcoming of mine that I had to learn. But hey, how does anyone get better unless you go through and you get the experience and then you do learn?
But that's really...
I'm not doing it now. I'll tell you what.
Because that's the thing. It's not the company's place to do that. I don't think that the company should look at that individual and tell them... it's not really judging, but I don't think we should look at them and look at faults. I think that the person can look at themselves and see, what did I do? What can I do better?
Well, I will tell you, because it's part of my own development too. That's how I see this, growing a company. I'm also growing as a person at the same time.
Exactly.
But
those happen
that is
separately.
A part of it for me. So
they happen separately from each other, though. Yeah. The company's growth is dependent on your growth as a person.
It is. Because we're small. Yes, sure.
When you have certain shortcomings, you have the company there to support you.
True.
It's not all on you to do these certain things.
No, I totally agree.
When it comes to the role of a CEO especially, but really for any department head, handling everything on your plate gets overwhelming. It might not be every day, but there are seasons and there are certain times where you need that kind of additional support.
I totally agree. And actually, what better could you ever ask for then a team, right? Who does exactly that? And which, by the way, if you're just tuning in now, you're listening to Family Bid-Ness, where we give family insight into small business growth and small business strategy. And we're talking about communication. And so here, okay, so that was an example of where I felt, the disruption of bad communication. Yes. And so within that example, I was right in the middle of it. And so all right, but now
let's talk about good communication.
Yeah,
and I think we have a wonderful example in the matchmaking event that we did recently.
Oh, I loved that whole thing.
I know.
Loved it. Mm-hmm. It felt like every cylinder was firing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I want to bring it up because we're a small team still. Mm-hmm. We had people that were in positions and going through multiple different positions throughout the day.
I thought it was perfect.
Some of them, they had never worked that kind of stuff before.
Yeah.
Or they were still fresh with things.
Right.
Even still.
So this was a convention in Chantilly.
Yep.
Chantilly, Virginia, that we handled as a company. We handled the matchmaking.
So the convention was run by a company. The organization of the convention was run by a tech company. The matchmaking was run by us.
Yeah. Now, and so what? We had 4 of us that were there on site.
Yes.
Correct. And I think we had some support from the organization putting on the actual convention.
Oh, they did a fantastic job, actually.
Right. So now with that, oh man, massive communication. There was no way that we could have done that at all without communication being really right.
Exactly, because
right?
not only were we running matchmaking, but we were working at other events throughout the conference.
How many companies do you think we ran through that? And how many hours in total do you think it was?
I'm sure we have the exact numbers. I know that there were a couple hundred companies.
It was over 300, I want to say, right?
But
was it?
That's what I want to talk about.
There were about 300 companies. How many government agencies were there? Because we were pairing them up with both, right?
Yeah, but that's not what I want to focus on with this. There were so many different things we were doing there. Yeah. What I want to talk about is how we had our company training these people, doing tech support, running the matchmaking, and working with the hotel staff and the company that was there running the convention to make all this happen, put up tables, change out booths, all of those different things.
And now, do you want to know why I think all of that works so well? You see, with that volume, and it really was a great showing, right? So with that volume, companies got supported, government agencies got supported. Our team, we were there together. There were like behind that one table, and we had one person that was running that group at one time, and then everyone else supporting each other.
And we were moving around. It was a 2-story convention, so 2 different floors that we had to go through.
So then we had to split up and go,
So, yeah, I'm really bringing this up because I want to hone in on how your company should work with the public. Whether you're working with other companies, whether you're just out doing public outreach, you want to be honest, genuine, and not only make sure you have enough manpower, but know what your people are willing to do and what they're good at doing, what they like to do.
Well, you see, and I really think that it goes to, I mean, if this is something to where it's like it's fun, it doesn't even seem like work. Like in that, and that's what that was. Time,
exactly.
It was so. It was almost the definition of it, right? To where it's like it was so fluid.
And we got so many compliments. My cheeks were beyond red.
And that's a natural outcome, I think, of when something is done well. And so, at the crux of that was communication. We all trusted each other. Mm-hmm. We all listened to each other. We respected each other's moment. And then we ended up working with each other all the way to the very end.
Exactly. And with that, we will be seeing the end of this and whether or not our family divide is intact.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Neither can I.
Timmy Pro is a one-stop shop in the federal contracting market. We have the 3 things that you need to be successful in this industry. You need opportunities, teammates, and organization. And we all need these so we can come together and do more. Now, whether you're just starting out or have a large company, Teamy Pro will automate and streamline your business development, will help you discover new teammates, and get your business moving faster in the federal market. So visit us at teamypro.com, activate your free account, and join our growing network today.
Welcome back to Family Bid-Ness, where we give family insights into small business growth and small business strategy.
Yeah.
Right now, I am looking at our family divide, standing over a very large cavern that it crosses.
Is it really that deep?
No,
Really?
no, not at all.
Yeah. And all right. So this is the other part too. Communication, right? And,
Yeah.
Like how we do it, not only personally, but how we do it as a company. Question just kind of came up, how do you do that? I mean, just in general, I would say at a base core, you do it honestly, number one.
I don't think that question just came up. I feel like that's what we've been talking about the whole time.
On our little segment break here, we were kind of talking about that, but I think honestly,
Yeah.
all communication should be based on that, right?
And repeat what it was one more time.
Honest. Just
Honest
be honest.
communication.
Yeah. Now, what that might mean is, and this is a benefit, that might mean saying some things that might be hard to say.
Absolutely, but I'm glad you brought that up because I think that my point with that is that honest communication is not effective communication at all.
You don't think so?
No. I think that there are plenty of examples in history where people were very honest. That your points can still be misconstrued.
Well, that's
People
true.
can still not even listen to what you said
That
for
is
the
true.
first half or second half and get a different perspective on it entirely.
Well, but still, at the same time.
I do think you're right. I think honest communication is always not only is it the most effective, but it's the most important thing to do. And just generally, if you're not being honest, then you're not doing good business.
And what is the point?
What's the point?
Because like this is something else that I was thinking about. All right, so in this day and age, we have the gig economy now.
Gig economy.
Yeah, you can go out and make money.
You and your words.
I know, man.
We have social media.
Well,
Is that what you mean?
so no, like somebody could go make some money with their automobile today. Okay, so people can do things. Okay, it's
I
different.
get what you're saying. Yep.
And so I don't understand why we would spend our time, let's just say, working somewhere or doing something that we dedicate so much of ourselves to, if it's not something that we're proud to say that we do that. You know what I mean? And so I do think it should be something that is, that makes us get up in the morning to where it ends up being like it is not a chore, but it's more of a joy ultimately. If we can do that, if we're lucky enough. But I also think, hey, part of that is communication too. Do you know why? Do you know why I really, really, really think that?
Yes.
Because it's communication with ourselves. What is it that we're really like not telling ourselves? Why are we going into some place that we're miserable at every day? Let's not do that. Every day is yours. Why wouldn't we spend it doing something that we can look back and then say, I'm proud that I did that. That was cool.
No, I was definitely right. I knew your point before you said it.
No, you
I
didn't.
am amazing.
You are, though.
It's awesome.
You are.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the other point just to add on to that is that it starts from day one and it continues every single day.
And if a small business can have that, that's one of the cool things that I like about the small business part too, because it's a team. And our team, right? Our team has gone through growth and has gone through struggle, and all the stuff that we're talking about here. But we're still that team, and we added on to that team some, and
we will continue to do that.
As we will. That's exactly right. And being small, knowing that communication is a challenge. It's not a given, but it's a challenge. Then it kind of makes me feel a whole lot better knowing that as long as we provide honest, open communication frequently, is the way I like to do it. And I'll over communicate with you, buddy. I'm just saying that's how it is. And then I think that gives us a higher probability of hitting the mark that we're looking to hit.
I disagree with that entirely.
Love it.
Because right there with what you said, I have communicated clearly that it gets on my nerves.
I know.
And that your over communication is unhelpful.
That's true.
And that you could put it in an email.
Yeah, but then it makes me think like,
And
okay,
just
you got to pick your battles.
Go back to the email. I've picked this battle.
You are, all right. So, all right, all right, heels are being dug in. I understand that. You know what I'm going to do? I hear you.
Oh.
I hear you. Okay.
Do you want to kiss my baby?
No. Well, as soon as you start having kids, you know what? It's maybe high time to get on that. But yeah, you're right. You're right. If it is something that irks you that much, seriously, right? Maybe I'll give a little pushback, but then if you give it back a little bit, then I should recognize that. That right there, that's communication.
Exactly. And it's just as much what you say as what is said to you. You have to take it in, be willing to listen.
I totally agree. And then for those of us actually just joining us here now, we are Family Bid-Ness, where we get family insight into small business growth and small business strategy. And we're here talking about communication, especially a family business right here, talking about communication and how, just can I say, how awesome is that?
You know,
right?
you said it twice, but you didn't say the word. So I'm going to say that we are, in fact, communicating about communication.
I love it.
With our family Bid-Ness,
It's
as
amazing.
you said. And yeah, no, it's been a wonderful conversation. Okay. I think we agree on most points.
So yeah. Well, so your scorecard. So how do we do? So do we still have some kind of divide, or on our basis?
It's less of a scorecard, more like a hangman game.
Hangman game.
So the Molotov was filled. The shirt was put in. I mean, the poor guy that lost his shirt, but we don't really talk about him. Anyway, it might have been lit, but it has not been thrown.
Okay. All right. But it's still sitting there in someone's hand.
Always.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And, that's just as bad if it's not thrown.
Well,
so
this is family business. So that might not ever go away. Maybe that's how that is, too. Hey, you know what? That's part of the communications, too. I will say.
No, that's just part of our relationship here. I mean, you have to have the fire there in between us.
Well, that's true. But also, isn't it awesome, though? You have all of this together, a willingness and a desire to get better, to get stronger, right? To get wiser. All of it together, moving in the same direction as a company. I mean, so that's an amazing thing. When I think about it from a personal point of view, when someone is doing that kind of thing, making strives to make themselves better, stronger, more organized and all that. I mean, us doing that as a company, and it feels just like, I don't know. It just feels like your family just keeps getting stronger. You know what I mean?
Well, our family's also getting bigger because not only are we doing it for our company, but we also have our coaching. We help other companies do this too.
Love doing that.
That is just wild.
Well, that's right.
It's interesting because every company has different people at the top. And we're talking about this one-size-fits-all type of communication, but in reality, it's based on your company. Whoever you have as your management, they'll dictate how people are comfortable carrying themselves in the organization.
Well, that is true. And, that's one of those challenges, right? And if you want to step into the world of small business, then here we go. That is challenges abound, right? And that is one of those challenges. That's exactly right.
Exactly.
And communication right at the core of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. And, like we said, communication is one of the most important things. And another important thing is water. So I'm going to go drink that, and I think that we'll see y'all in just a minute. Teaming Pro is a one-stop shop in the federal contracting market. We have the 3 things that you need to be successful in the industry, and that's opportunities, teammates, and organization. Now, we do this so you can come together and do more. Whether you're just starting out or have a large company, Teaming Pro will automate and streamline your business development, helping you discover new teammates and get your business there faster. Visit us at teamingpro.com to activate your free account and join our growing network today.
Hey, thank you for tuning in to Family Bid-Ness. This is a show where we give family insight into small business growth and small business strategy, all while trying to help each other grow stronger. I'm your host, Tim Haggerty. I'm here with my co-host, Ben. Say goodbye, Ben.
Goodbye. Have a wonderful night, everybody. I really do just want to say thank you so much. This has been a conversation about conversations.
Love it.
And it was a fun one.
Yeah, totally was. Hey, and now with that, please give us a follow on our social media. You can stay up to date if you go to familybid-ness.com. That is where you can come join our family, reach out, and maybe we can cover your topic on the next show. What do you think?
You know, that'd be really interesting because this actually came from someone in our network.
Oh, I love that.
And I would love to hear from people that are listening to the show, that someone that specifically thought of something from the show. That would be the best case scenario.
That is so much fun.
But anyway,
well, until that next time, we're Family Bid-Ness.
Have a wonderful night.